Hi, my name is Josie and I'm accompanied by Winston here, and today I'm going to take you through everything that I knit in 2025, which is my first year knitting. So prior to learning to knit, I had been a crocheter. I crocheted for probably about 4 years before learning to knit. I loved crochet. I loved making blankets, as you can see one here, different like plushies, things like that. But in the year or so before learning to knit, I really found myself being drawn towards crocheted wearables. I wanted to make sweaters and shirts and just different things like that. But I found myself not loving the in-product fabric that crochet produces. I realized that if I wanted to wear my garments and be confident and love the look and style and fabric, that I needed to learn to knit. In March of this year, over my spring break, I'm a grad student, so I had a week off for spring break, and I told myself I'm gonna spend this week learning how to knit. I ordered a really cheap set of fixed needles off of Amazon, and I was ready to go. I got some yarn from my stash and made my first object. This is a simple scarf. It's just 4x4 ribbing, and it was knit with Pound of Love, which is a Lion brand yarn, and I don't know the exact color, but it's like kind of a beigey wheat color. And yeah, so this is the first thing that I ever made. You can see I didn't weave the ends in yet. I made this in late March, so I couldn't necessarily wear it because it was just too warm, and so I didn't have the motivation to knit or to weave the ends in, which I should do it now because I actually really do like the scarf. I think it's super cute. It's super long and practical, and I think it's a great first object. I will say I sorted this over probably a dozen times, so while this is my first finished knit object, if I had continued going from the start of my first attempt, it would not look like this. My tension was so wrong, I had twisted all of my stitches, like all of those things were happening, and every time I realized my issues, I completely would frog and start over. So while this is my first object, I will say this took a lot of time and starting over to get to this point where I felt really confident in what I created. But I was really happy with this. I think it taught me a lot about knitting and purling, and I felt really prepared to take on a more complex pattern, a more complex project following this, because I just felt really comfortable with just doing those basic stitches, and I felt like once I had done that and I felt more comfortable with my tension, I was ready to move on to something bigger and something a little bit more exciting and more what I had really learned to knit for. And so my second project that I made is the Step by Step sweater by Florence Müller. You can see I made it in this like pumpkin-y orange color. It is also Pound of Love by a Lion brand. I don't know the exact colorway name, but it's just like a bright orange. And it was something I already had in stash as well. So I knitted these as soon as I ordered like the Chiago, if that's how you say it, knitting needles. And I was waiting very patiently for those to come in. And as soon as those came in, I cast it on this sweater. And I decided to knit it with some yarn I already had in stash just because it was my first sweater and I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on nicer yarn before I felt more confident in my skills. So the downsides of the sweater is that I don't really love the fabric. While I think that the Pound of Love yarn is pretty solid yarn for like an accessory like my scarf, I don't really love it as a fabric for a piece of clothing. It has kind of like a weird fuzzy pilling, and it sort of almost like looks like dirty to me. Things catch in it really easily in a way that I haven't noticed with other yarns that I've used. But I mean, I will say I am proud of this as my first sweater. I have worn it a few times. It's not one that I reach towards automatically, but when I want an orange sweater, this is the only orange sweater I have, so it's my go-to. If I did it again, the changes I would make, obviously I would use a different yarn, but I would also make it longer. This is quite cropped. I have a pretty short torso, so it works, but it is pretty cropped, and I could have gotten away with doing it longer. I think I just wanted it to be done and to be able to say I made my first sweater. I mean, other than that, there's obviously some imperfections. You can see like some kind of like gaping out down here with some of the stitches where I cast on for the sleeves, but I think as my first sweater, I'm really proud of how it turned out. I'll never ever get rid of this because I think it's just kind of a reminder of how far I've come and where I started. Yes, Step by Step sweater by Florence Müller. Definitely also recommend that pattern if you're a beginner knitter and you want to knit your first sweater. It's free, and Florence also made like an accompanying YouTube video, so it explains everything very, very easy. And it's definitely one that I should go back to, I think. I really do like the pattern, and I think it's a great like basic staple sweater pattern, and I haven't done it since I did this one. So I'd love to do it in a material that maybe I would want to wear a little bit more. The next project that I made is the Eva cardigan by PetiteKnit. I really, really like how this cardigan turned out. I knit this in Drops Karisma, and I don't know the colorway, but it's just a very dark brown color. And I absolutely love this piece. I really, really love this piece. I wear it a lot. Drops Karisma isn't the softest yarn in the world, but I'm not really like super sensitive to that, to like scratchiness, so it's fine for me. But yeah, just be warned if you're pretty sensitive to yarns, this may not be the one for you. But this was a super, I would say pretty easy pattern, honestly. It's just a lot of back and forth working stockinette on like a large piece of fabric. I remember it was super bunched up on my needles because it's just like the whole thing is so long. It's quite oversized too, as you can see. If I knit it again, I might actually make a size down. I think that this works fine. I don't mind how oversized it is, but I do think that I maybe would prefer just a slightly more fitted piece. I still like the positive ease, but this is a lot of positive ease for me. But I do find myself reaching for this all the time. The color is such like a classic neutral. It goes with pretty much anything. And it's a great layering piece, but it doesn't get overly hot either. So it works even when it's not like super, super cold outside. I definitely recommend this pattern. It's a very classic cardigan pattern, and I definitely could see myself knitting it again in maybe a more colorful option, like maybe a light green or pink, or even like a light blue color, I think would be beautiful with this pattern. The next piece that I made is the vest Taipei. I'm not quite sure if I'm pronouncing that right. And that is by Mochiknits. I knit this in Drop Daisy in the colorway Marzipan. I absolutely love this piece. So you can see it's just kind of like a cropped vest look. It actually doesn't look too cropped on me, but it could be longer. But I love the length. I love the feel of this yarn. It's such a soft yarn, like no itchiness or scratchiness to it at all. So if you're sensitive to yarns, I think Drops Daisy is a really good option. I was so proud of how this piece turned out. I really enjoyed knitting it up. Learning how to do the cables was super fun, and I didn't think that they were too challenging to do. And I wear this all the time. I layer it underneath my Eva cardigan often, and sometimes I just wear it by itself as well. The one thing I will say is Drops Daisy does pill. It's very fuzzy, and like, so I get a lot of like fuzzy pills. I don't mind that too much. I don't mind doing the matins to keep it up because I think it's such a soft yarn, and I do love the feel of it, and the actual fabric itself is super nice. So I don't mind the pilling. I can put up with that. But that's the only thing that I would say that is a con of this piece. Other than that, I absolutely love this. I'm super proud of how it worked up. It's one of those pieces that it taught me the importance of blocking for sure. I knit it, and then when I put it on, it was almost like a little like fitted. And then as soon as I blocked it and like let it dry and put it back on, it just really bloomed out and became this really like nice flowy fabric and gained a lot of positive ease. And I think that has a lot to do with how many cables there are. Cables tend to scrunch up before you block them, and this piece was a great introduction to that, to learning all of those techniques and how the yarn works and how the density of the fabric changes with construction like this. And yeah, I love this piece. I'm super proud of it. I wear this all the time, and although it's not like the most colorful of pieces, I think it's just such a classic color that it goes with like anything. So I would definitely recommend that pattern if you're looking for something like this, because I thought it was just so fun to work up. The next piece I made is also a vest. So this is the Maggie vest by PetiteKnit. You can see there are some ends I didn't weave in because I'm so incredibly lazy. But yeah, so this is the Maggie vest by PetiteKnit. I knit this in Drops Lima in the color, I think it's Blue Jeans. And I absolutely love this piece too. It's another one that knit up really, really quickly. One thing I will say about this vest, and also about the previous vest, my yarn choices are not necessarily ones that I think that I would have made if I knit these tops today. I think I tend to want to wear those pieces, these vests by themselves in like the summer and the warmer months. And the fact that, so Drops Lima is like wool alpaca, and I think Drops Daisy is like merino wool, I want to say, and so they tend to get hot really quickly. If I did them again, I would knit them in a cotton blend. So that's a note for the future, or if anyone's considering these patterns and wants to style them for the warmer months, I would choose a different yarn choice. But I will say I do love this Drops Lima. I think it's just a great yarn. It feels really nice. I think it's not like the softest yarn in the world, but like it's soft to me. Like it works perfectly for me. I don't find it to be itchy. I also don't find that it pills too badly, especially when it's knitted in a more dense fabric. I'll talk a little bit about another project in a minute that I knitted on a much looser gauge and it pills a lot more. It's Drops Lima as well. But for this one, it doesn't pill too bad at all. And yeah, I love this piece. Like I said, I usually just wear it by itself. I think it's such a pretty color, a pretty blue, and I love like the color of the buttons too. Kind of has that color difference, that contrast. I think it looks really pretty. And I definitely could see myself knitting this pattern again in a different colorway. I don't know, like I honestly think like maybe a more neutral one would be great as well, like an off-white, a cream. I think I would get a lot of wear out of something like that. So we'll see if I revisit that at some point. But yes, this is my Maggie vest by PetiteKnit. So my next knit begins a series of a few knits that I'm not incredibly happy with the results of. I don't really know what happened. I think I just got so excited about knitting and like the process of everything, and I started going almost too fast through things, and I didn't take it slow enough to catch some of the issues that I have with these pieces before I finished them, if that makes sense. So I can explain to you all of that, but I'll just show you the pieces and then I'll explain what I dislike about each one of them. So this is it's like a little wrinkled right now for some reason. Maybe it'll look better on this side. This is my SABAI top, and I don't know the name of the designer, but I'll put it up here. This is my SABAI top. I knitted this in yarn that I actually got from a thrifted cardigan, and I unraveled it from the thrift store. So I don't know like the specific yarn type, but I know it's like a cotton blend. I think it's like cotton and acrylic. I actually don't mind the yarn at all. I think it feels really nice. It knit up really well. Like I like the stitch definition of it. My issues with this top, there's a few. I think my first one is I knit it way too short. Like I think I thought that it would kind of block longer after I blocked it, but I obviously didn't know exactly how this yarn would react to blocking because I didn't know the composition fully, and I'd never worked with it before, obviously, because it was from a random thrifted object. But I just think it's too short. I can wear it, and I have worn it, and so it's not like I won't wear it because of the length, but I wish that it had been like about 2 inches longer, and so it would fit me more like a full tank top than it does right now. Because right now it's almost like a crop top in a way, even though I'm pretty short, so it does cover my full torso. Hi, baby. I wish that it just was a little bit longer. My other issue with this top is that it's also just like a little too wide for my taste as well. I wish it was a little bit more fitted. It is quite wide on me. I know it's hard to tell right now because I'm wearing like a more oversized sweater, but this fits me quite loosely. And I wish it was just a little less positive ease. So going forward, I think my plan for this is, because I want to be able to get more wear out of it, I don't think I'll unravel the whole thing. While I don't love how much positive ease there is, I don't hate it either. Like I will still wear it, but I do think I want to take the time to add about 2 inches to the bottom. I think that would just make me reach for this piece a lot more. I didn't knit off in like Italian bind off or anything, so it would be super easy to unravel the bind off and pick stitches back up and just make this piece about 2 inches longer, and then I would get some more wear out of it. I will say this pattern is a pattern I could see myself making again in the future. And so if I do make it again, I definitely think I want to consider the fact that I want it to fit a little smaller. And so I would probably knit it a little bit, a size down maybe, and I would get more wear out of something like that. But I definitely see myself knitting more of these in the future and actually making them a little bit more fit what I'm actually hoping for in a top. So yes, that is my SABAI top. My next finished object is Camisole number 5 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I knit this in Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino in the color Dusty Artichoke. I have a lot of thoughts about this top. First and foremost, I will say technically this isn't a finished top according to the pattern. I never did the neckline. So the actual pattern has like kind of like a almost like folded over neckline that goes along the top. And I cast on for it a few times, and every time I did it, it was like super loose and like it didn't fit right. And after the third time of trying and still not getting the right stitch count to make it actually fit the way I wanted it to, I just took it all off and said, you know what, I think it's fine the way it is and I will wear it like this and I don't need to do the rest of the neckline. So just a little point there, technically it's not a fully finished Camisole number 5. The other thing I will say about this top, so this top was probably the longest and most amount of time I've put into a knitting project. I severely underestimated how long it would take to knit something in light fingering yarn and how hard that would be on my hands. I originally bought the yarn, the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino, before I really understood a lot of things about knitting. I didn't really understand that light fingering, like what the difference was between like a light fingering yarn versus, you know, like a more bulky Aran or worsted weight yarn or DK. And so I bought it thinking I was gonna knit a sweater with it. I bought a ton of this color. It was super expensive and I actually used less than half of it to make this top. So I have about 3 skeins left. After I got a good way into this top, it was just really hard on my hands and I wanted a break from it, so I put it down for a little bit. And when I came back to it, my knitting, my tension had gotten looser. I don't really know how that happened. I know that it's probably just because I'm still so early into knitting that my tension was still kind of evening out as to how exactly I knit. I think that it's gotten better now as I've knitted more. But so when I came back to it, I had basically, when I stopped it, I had stopped kind of around like right here. And so when I picked it back up, I knit the whole bottom and I could tell it looked different. I could tell the gauge looked bigger. But it was one of those things that I was like, oh, it will probably just block out and it will probably be fine. And that was where I went wrong because it did not block out. And in fact, it even looked more distinctly different after I blocked it. You could just tell it was looser. So I ended up unraveling all of that and picking stitches back up again and trying to like knit tighter so that I could fix it. It definitely looks better now than it did, but you can still see if you, here, I think you see better from the side. If you get close, you can sort of see right here. You see that kind of like almost like a line. It's not because it's a different like dye lot or anything like that. It's because my tension is different from this to this and I couldn't match it again after I put it back down. I think it's harder for such a light fingering weight yarn for you to, it's more noticeable when a tension is different. I feel like when I knit like a sweater in a more thicker yarn type, it can kind of hide a little bit. That tension doesn't necessarily show, but it shows on this. And even though it's like not super noticeable, I notice it. And so it's one of those things that bothers me a little bit. I don't know if I'll go back and undo this whole top. I've thought about undoing the whole thing and just knitting it over again, but it took so long that I don't know if I can. I don't know if it would be worth it. And I honestly don't know if it's noticeable enough that it matters. Like, I can see it, but I don't think other people can, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things that's like, I would just be doing it for me. And maybe that's worth it. I don't know. The one thing I will say about this top that I do think I will definitely fix, whether or not I decide to undo the whole thing, is the length. I wish it was about 1.5 inches, 2 inches longer. I find this happening a lot with my knits. I just want to be done, so I cast off before it's long enough. So I think even if I don't undo all of this, I'll definitely pick stitches back up and knit a few inches, so that way it's a better length for me. It works fine right now, but I do wish that it was a little bit longer. I think I would be happier with it if it was. But I would recommend this pattern. I think it's a great pattern. I love this yarn. It hasn't pilled at all, and it's super like light and soft. So everything about like the pattern and the yarn choice is great. It's just mostly, I think I was a little bit too inexperienced when I took this on, and I was still figuring out my tension and how I hold my needles and things like that. And so putting it down and coming back to it just really, really messed it up for me. And we'll see if I decide to fix it any further than I already have, but I'll definitely make it a little longer at some point when it starts to get a little warmer outside. The next knit that I made is actually the sweater I'm currently wearing. So this is the Lakes Pullover by Ozetta. I knit this in Drops Alpaca, held double in the colorway Seafoam. I love this sweater. This is my absolute favorite sweater. It's my pride and joy. I wear this all the time. I will say, like, the yarn isn't the softest, but I don't think it's itchy for me either. If you're sensitive, it may not be okay, but like for me, it works great. I love the color. I just absolutely love the color. In fact, the reason I even made this is because I saw somebody else wearing a sweater that they had knit in the Alpaca Seafoam, and I fell in love with the color, and I was like, that is my favorite color, and I need a sweater in that immediately. So I ordered a bunch, and when I got it, I didn't even think to look at the yarn weight. I just assumed that it was like gonna be a good weight for a sweater, and that's completely on me. When I got it and I realized it was like a fingering or like a light fingering weight, and I realized that wasn't really gonna work for like a sweater, I ended up having to order more so I could just hold it double. Ended up working fine, but it is one of those things. I'm just glad the dye lots ended up being the same. There was no issues there. But yeah, I absolutely love this sweater. I think it's perfect. I love the length. They actually made it long enough. I love the length of the sleeves. They're like right to the end of my arms without like being too oversized that they get in the way. And I think it's a perfect color for me. This is very much in what I would consider my color scheme of things that I like to wear. And I get so much wear out of this. I wear this like multiple times a week, and I love it. I would knit this pattern again for sure. In fact, I probably will sometime next year make the Lakes Pullover again in a different color. I think it's a great pattern, and I absolutely love like I think it's saddle shoulder construction. I think it works really well for my like body type and my shoulders. So I will be definitely knitting this pattern again. It's a great one, and I know it's a super popular one, so I'm sure everyone's heard of it, but if you haven't knit this pattern, I definitely recommend it because I think it's just beautiful, and it's so simple, but it's just very well constructed, and I love this sweater so much. I wear this all the time. The next sweater I made, everyone's gonna immediately recognize the pattern. This is the Olga sweater by PetiteKnit. You can see I have not weaved my ends in, and I'll get to why that is in just a second. I knit this in Drops Lima. It's the blue jean color that I used for the Maggie vest, and then it's like the off-white as well. I love Drops Lima. I reach for this all the time as a go-to for my sweaters. I will say I'm not incredibly happy with this sweater. It just didn't fully turn out the way that I wanted, and I'll explain why. I think my first issue is I had a gauge issue. I don't really know what happened. I don't know if I did a color or a gauge swatch. I can't really remember, but I knit this on, I think 4.5 millimeter needles, and I really should have gone down to 4. I don't know if I would have been under gauge if I had done that, or over gauge, I guess that is, but I don't love this fabric very much. I think it's just a little too loose of a gauge for my taste. And so it feels almost like cheaper in a way than some of my other patterns that I have made or my other garments that I've made with Drops Lima. And it also pills more. And I don't know if that is because of the looser gauge. I'm assuming that it is. I'm assuming it has something to do with the looser gauge, the fact that it pills so much more as well. And I haven't worn it that much. Like, I've worn other pieces than Drops Lima more, and I have not gotten the same level of pilling on them. So my thoughts for this is that I want to completely reknit it. I think that is truly my plan. I'm so over gauge on this sweater. Like, you can see, like, this drop shoulder dropped so much that I did the sleeves, and the sleeves are so short. I couldn't even get through all of the decreases because it was already like hanging past my hands. Like, it was so long because the drop shoulder just like stretched so much, and then my gauge was off, like everything was off. So I do like this. Like, when I actually put this on and wear it, I don't hate the look. I think it actually like looks nice as a garment, but I just don't love the feel, and I don't love the feeling that I know that it could be better, and I want it to be better. So I do think at some point I will take the time to fully re-knit this entire sweater, so that way I can just have something I feel proud of, and like I don't have kind of these regrets about wearing, or like regrets about not fixing. So at some point I think I'll fully unravel this and re-knit it in the exact same colors. I have some more leftover yarn too, so even if I do a tighter gauge, which is my plan, I should have plenty of yarn. It shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, so this is my Olga sweater. I don't hate it. I think it looks fine when I wear it. I just wish it was better, and I'm going to make it better at some point. I would recommend this pattern, and I definitely could see myself knitting the Olga sweater in some different colors as well. These wouldn't have been my top 2 color choices if I had just bought yarn for this, but since I had the leftover blue jean yarn colorway from my Maggie vest, I decided to go ahead and just do it with that so that I could get it out of my stash. So my next sweater is actually a gift knit for my brother for Christmas. I'll be giving it to him in a few weeks whenever we're celebrating Christmas, but it is, I am so proud of this sweater. Like genuinely, I can't believe that I made this sweater. This is the Moby sweater by PetiteKnit. I knit this in Drops Lima. The color is chalk, and I absolutely love how this turned out. I love the density of the fabric. I love the feel of it. I love the pattern. Like I can't even believe that like I knit this. The only thing I have left to do on it is like the weave in the ends, which will take no time at all. But after that, it's done. It's already been blocked, so it's ready to go. I had him try it on at Thanksgiving with a blindfold on so he couldn't see it, even though he already knows I'm making it for him. I still want it to be like a surprise when he fully opens it on Christmas Day. Yeah, I'm so proud of this one. I'm honestly jealous that he's gonna get it. I actually ordered more Drops Lima yarn in a like off-white color to knit my own because I am so obsessed with how this turned out. And the only thing I'm not so sure of is, we'll see, but the sleeve length, I'm hoping that they'll be the right length for him. If not, I have a whole nother ball of this, so I'm more than happy to fix it the day after Christmas and add an inch or just see what it needs. I want to do that because I want it to be something that is perfect for him. But yeah, I'm so proud of this. Like it's one of those projects that I made, and then looking at it now, I'm like, I can't believe I can make something like this. Like the fact that I took yarn and made it into this garment is crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. And Winston's coming up to celebrate it as well because he loves it too. He loves to take naps on it, actually. That's his favorite thing. So yeah, I definitely recommend this pattern. I thought it was a great like intro to kind of more textured cables and some different other techniques I'd never done before. And I can't wait to knit it again for myself because I just love the way it turned out. I think it's perfect. I'm so excited to be able to give it to him. Yeah, this is my Moby sweater by PetiteKnit. This is my Moby sweater by PetiteKnit. Winston wants his own as well. So the next few projects I have are actually not finished. They're still works in progress, but they'll be finished by the end of the year, and I'm filming this a little bit before the end of the year because I'm gonna go home for the holidays, and I just wanted to get it filmed before I give away a lot of gift knits and things like that. I wanted to be able to show you guys. So this next few objects are all still works in progresses, but I think I'll probably be able to insert some clips of the finished products so that you guys can see. I'm probably gonna butcher the name of the sweater and the name of the designer, but this is the Un Sweater Light by Fiskum Sunde. I'm not positive that I pronounced that right, but I feel like it's a pretty popular pattern as well, so you'll probably recognize it. So this is actually going to be a gift knit as well. It's going to be for my mom. It is knit in Drops Lima. I think the color is sky blue, and it's paired with the Drops Kid Silk. I'm not positive on the color, but it's whichever one is closest to the same as the sky blue color. I love the way this is coming out so far. I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful design. As you can see, like the raglan increases have this like awesome like pearl pattern next to them. It looks so like professional and like clean. I absolutely love the look. I love the neckline. I think it like the 2x2 ribbing just looks really, really pretty. Same with the bottom. I love like the cutouts at the sides. It does need to be blocked. It's looking a little kind of like bunched up right now, but once I block it, I know that that's all gonna even out super easy. yeah, but the last thing I have to do for this, it's so close to being done, is just the arms. And I know that once I cast them on and do them, it's gonna take no time at all. In fact, doing this really was a really, really quick pattern. And the reason that I haven't done the arms yet is because I was like, let me put this on hold and get to some other things that may take more time, like my brother's sweater, for example, because I know that once I actually start these sleeves, they'll probably take me a day or two. And so yes, I need to get this done before Christmas, but I'm super excited with like just how it's turning out so far. And I kind of want to knit my own now. I think when I first saw this pattern, it wasn't one that I thought, oh, like I want a sweater that looks like that. It was something that immediately I was like, this is something my mom would like. But now looking at how this is coming along, I definitely think I would wear a sweater like this. I just think it's a beautiful construction and there's so many beautiful details in it. So I could definitely see myself making this at some point now that I have the pattern in just like a different color. So maybe we'll see that in the future, but this is the progress so far, and hopefully you'll be seeing some clips of the finished product as well. My next work in progress that will be finished is the Norma sweater by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I am just so excited with the way that this sweater is coming out. I'm knitting this in Drops Air, and the colors, it's antique green, off-white maybe, I'm not positive on that, and then like blush. So I love the way these colors look together. I think it's beautiful. I think, yeah, it's perfect. If you can see a theme here, I love green. I love wearing green. I mean, you can see like it's everywhere around me and what I'm wearing. And this is no exception. I think this colorway is just gorgeous, and I think it pairs really well with like the cream and the blush as well. I'm basically finished with the body. All I'm doing now is I'm doing the setup rows to do the Italian bind off, like that's it, and then the body is done. And then I just have to do the sleeves, and I think that this will be such a quick finish once I start back up on it. It's just been on pause because I've been doing so many gift knits, but I know that it's one that I'll probably fly through once I actually do it. I'd love to have it finished in time for Christmas, so hopefully I could wear it to something that we're doing around the Christmas holiday. It's not necessarily a Christmas sweater per se, but I think the green works. It looks a little festive. But I'm so excited to wear this. I know that there are mixed reviews about Drops Air. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think it feels great, obviously. We'll see how it wears. If it doesn't wear great, then I'll probably just knit this again in a better yarn, and that's fine. But I'm super happy with how it's turning out, and I think the Drops Air feels so lovely. And I also love the way that it almost looks like a mohair effect without having to hold a mohair, because it's just so much fuzz, so fuzzy. So we'll see how this turns out and how this wears, but I have a feeling I'm gonna really love this piece and get a lot of wear out of it. And so yeah, so that is everything that I made in 2025, which is actually for me only 9 months because I learned to knit in like late March. So really, it was really just my first 9 months of knitting, and I've absolutely loved learning to knit. It's been such like a peaceful, calming hobby, and I love coming home and getting to like work on one of my objects. It's one of my favorite parts of my day, and I love making things for myself that I love to wear, and I also just love making things for other people. I feel like sometimes I struggle with gift giving because I'm like, I don't know what somebody wants, but now that I've gotten so comfortable and confident in my knitting skills, I'm really able to make things that people want to wear that don't necessarily look handmade. They look more professional and clean and like, yeah. And so making things for other people is just so fulfilling for me. So my plan for this channel moving forward, I do plan to keep uploading. I'm thinking I'll kind of do some podcast style episodes, either bi-weekly or monthly. Just taking you guys through works in progress, completed objects, and acquisitions. Just kind of the traditional knitting podcast style video, because I love watching those. Those bring me so much inspiration, and I would love to just kind of document my own knitting journey. And other than that, I don't know if I'll do any other style of a video. We'll see if I have the capacity or desire, or if there's anyone out there who wants to see it like something else, like maybe like a knitting vlog or a project vlog. I'm not sure if that's something that I want to do, but who knows? I'm open to it. But yeah, thank you for still being here. If you're still listening, I hope you really enjoyed, and hopefully if If you were working on something, you got some good progress made. I'd love to hear your favorite thing that you knit this year below. I'd love to get some inspiration from you guys on some of your favorite knits. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next video.